So we are back, Kurt Magoo Sports, and we are going to look at Walker Howard from St. Thomas More High School, Lafayette, Louisiana, the state champ. I mean, this is his junior year tape, and I know that he had an impressive senior year as well, but we're going to get the style of player that he's going to be as we were able to, watch him connect here with Jack Beck, hit one of his best friends. I mean, Walker Howard is a guy who really stabilized this class. He visited Notre Dame a lot. And I think he was pretty instrumental in Brian Kelly coming to Baton Rouge. So we know of Jack Beck, best friends with Walker Howard. Walker, a five-star quarterback, a guy who's owned Louisiana football. And I think that he has a very winnable job ahead of him if it's only going to be, Miles Brennan, competing for the quarterback spot. So this kid has all the accolades in the world. He's a top five guy on 24/7. He's a five-star quarterback, and he was dominant. His production speaks for itself, but let's analyze what he's going to bring, to the collegiate level at LSU. He's listed at 6'1". He's about like 6 feet, 6'1". He's not the tallest guy in the world, but what he does so well is his timing. He has great anticipation with his throws, like right here. So he plays very on schedule, and that leads him to be a very productive quarterback. You look at guys that are really good quarterbacks, and Sam Ellinger was like 6'2". And I would say that Walker Howard, I would say that in the intermediate game, he can drive the football. But does he have as big of an arm as some of the guys in the class, like maybe Devin Brown, maybe Drew Aller? He doesn't have the biggest arm per se, but in the intermediate game, he could still make plays. This is also what he brings to the football team. Is he's a great competitor, but he also has incredible instincts. He's great at improvising outside of the pocket. So you look at a quarterback who in the National Football League would be comparable to Walker Howard. It's Tony Romo. Because Tony Romo, when he was younger, was able to improvise. His throwing motion was, a little bit, kind of that chicken wing release, where Walker Howard, he gets a lot of torque on the ball, but it's also not the most rigid form. So he does have a lot of like you look at the release of Walker Howard, and let's see if we could slow this up even more. So Howard, trying to get it. So there's like kind of the release of Walker Howard. Yeah. So Walker Howard, he does kind of have like one of those, kind of shot putty releases where, you know, but here he does a nice job of breaking contain. He knows how to put touch on the ball. He's great at driving it to the back shoulder, so he knows trajectory really well. He's tall enough, and here he slides in the pocket so he can unleash this deep ball. And, of course, Jack Beck is unbelievable. Walker Howard, I think, could be a productive starter in the SEC. Where Bo Nix got in trouble being 6'1" is that he would oftentimes leave the pocket too soon. If you watch Ty Simpson, who's also acquaintable to Howard, who's going to Alabama, sometimes Ty Simpson will have a clean pocket and he's just running for his life. So Walker Howard, when he needs to improvise, he will. In terms of clutch drives, in terms of game-winning drives, there's nobody better than Walker Howard. How does he acquaint to an NFL level? I mean, that's going to remain to be seen. But, this guy could get the starting job and potentially start as a freshman. And, he has all the hype around him. His dad also played at LSU. So here you'd love this from Walker. I mean, this is an easy toss in the middle of the field, but again, reading the defense, throws it on the back shoulder. He's just really accurate in the middle of the field, which is something that I really, really like because that's a throw that can be replicated, all right? Here's Howard. This is just an incredible throw. Again, it's Jack Beck making a play, and, of course, he takes a brutal lick there at the back end of that play, which is a tough way to fall. But here you see Howard kind of layer this ball, and that's what I really like is that he can layer the football. He layers the football. He's very, very athletic for a quarterback. His footwork is perfect. I would say that, does he have an NFL arm? I don't know if he's going to be like a day one NFL guy, but could he be a really successful SEC quarterback? He does have qualities like this throw, which is good improvisation, which is kind of like natural feel, right? Does he have natural feel for oncoming defenders? Like there he makes a split-second decision. Like that's an athletic play. He can run. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of design runs in the SEC for Howard, but, he's got to play on time and on schedule. And listen, I think Howard can pick up and can operate a system. I think he's one of these kids that can play early because of his quick release, because of how he processes. I think he's a kid that can play quickly. I think he can achieve his ceiling. Is he the highest ceiling guy in all of the quarterbacks as a 5-star? I'm not sure. But I would say probably not, but I would also say that his floor is also a lot higher than the other 5-stars in this class because of his production, because of his accuracy, right? That's what you see. You see an accurate quarterback. You see a quarterback that's an incredible leader, all right? You see a guy who kept this class together through a coaching change in really tough times, and you already see Emory Jones, Will Campbell. I mean, these LSU guys are all just incredibly friendly with each other, and that matters in a team game. So, Walker in this LSU class, it was really special under Coach O. And it's still a pretty special class under Brian Kelly. I mean, there's a lot of transfers, though. But this is like one of the best throws from Howard because it shows, the type of work that he puts in with his receivers at St. Thomas More. He knows their mannerisms, so he knows Jack Beck, where Jack Beck wants the football, and he puts it on the back shoulder, which is just this is a play that is unstoppable, an unstoppable seed. I mean, that throw was ridiculous throw by Walker Howard right here. Ridiculous. That's what I really want to see from Howard. So this guy can operate an offense. This guy can be accurate. This guy can improvise, can make plays on the run. So this guy is going to be able to move the football in the SEC, I believe. So, and again, you could see him starting quickly. All right, like Jake Fromm started, and Jake Fromm, like in him, Jake Fromm was a productive starter in the SEC. And Walker even has a more mobility than a Jake Fromm, can maybe even stick it in the tighter windows, even though Fromm was a bigger player. But like Bo Nix started as a freshman. Luke Doty was a guy who started really early, who's, again, like of similar stature, similar size. This kid does have a good release, right? Now, I told you, like, his weaknesses might be height. And probably downfield arm strength is not like a Drew Aller, who's the top of the top in the class. Like if we're talking about NFL and 5 stars, then I would, I don't know if there's some quarterbacks that might be for the NFL game, might be like a Devin Brown, for example, has throws that are that are jaw-dropping type throws that, NFL evaluators. But in terms of just being super efficient at the college level, Walker Howard has all the abilities, and Howard does have some ability to play at the NFL level. He really does. He can operate an offense. He can make throws. He's a very quick decision maker, which is what I really like. He doesn't take sacks, and he just has a great rapport with his receivers and his production. So what are the strengths and weaknesses of Howard's game? The strengths of his game, all right? He's good improviser, meaning he can get outside the pocket. He has good instincts. He's athletic. He's very athletic. His footwork is very good. He can throw on the run both right and left. He's accurate. Intermediately, he plays decisively, which is what I love. He can throw back shoulder balls, He's a guy that can know how to layer it, but he can really drive it in the intermediate game. His weaknesses are probably his height. His throwing motion is naturally not as tight as maybe you would want. Does he have the biggest arm to uncork like the deepest level NFL throws in terms of like throwing it 60 yards? Nah, but he's a guy that can still operate the system. Is he the biggest guy? Is he going to be a guy that is that durable? Again, he's not the biggest kid either in terms of weight and stature. So I would say that, what are we looking for Walker Howard? A productive quarterback, like an upgrade over Sam Ehlinger, like maybe, Charlie Brewer at Baylor, like hopefully a better version of Charlie Brewer. What you're really looking for at LSU is you're looking for a great defense in this kid to be like a Sam Ehlinger of production, like a kid to be a staple, to be there like 3 or 4 years and to be like really, really solid. And, when we're talking about 6'1" quarterbacks, like he does offer you great production, confidence and tangibles that we talked about, like keeping the class together, his communication, the relationship he has with Jack, obviously, with Will Campbell, Emory Jones, the guys in this class, like, and the relationship he had with Brian Kelly, even with Coach O leaving, Walker, him going down to, or him going up to South Bend to visit, like that was all very critical in the process. So again, this is a very highly touted kid. This is a kid who's had a ton of success in Louisiana, and he plays decisive football. And it's going to be a wild ride with Walker Howard, and I hope it goes well for him because he's just a super likable kid, and I'm really rooting for him, and this freshman class to be successful. And I think Walker has a lot of chances to be successful.